scores as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Jo here of SportsGrid. It's time for Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV on X. We got 7 games on the slate today, and we're needing to roll hot again today. We had a great day yesterday. If you back the Anaheim Ducks quacking there, you were able to cash nicely as they did beat the Dallas Stars 4-2. We also saw the Columbus Blue Jackets go over their team total of 2.5, which was plus money. And that happened in the first period. 3 goals by the Columbus Blue Jackets. They also were able to pull off the upset versus the Boston Bruins, winning that one 5-1. Colorado again failed to cover that puck line versus the Flyers. I expected that one to start off with a bang in that first period. We weren't able to get there. The Montreal Canadiens were barking as well, getting the shutout win over the Edmonton Oilers. So quite a few great games. Oh, yeah. And that last game of the night was the icing on the cake. We were able to get the Sharks. We were able to get the Sharks in overtime. And we were able to get Toffoli and Celebrini both for those goals. Now, Celebrini did get the game-winning goal in OT. So that game was an absolute moneymaker. Washington continued to roll hot versus Utah, which I didn't expect. I actually thought Utah would be able to get the win. So good morning, everyone. Let's make some freaking money. Again, we'll go over each and every single game today. Then we'll do the recap at the end of the show. But we have 7 games on deck. I definitely need a lot of coffee this morning. My throat is super sore from yelling at the TV last night with all of those games in action. It's always a Tuesday. You know, we have Monday Night Football and then hockey games that are always tight. So just let me have one more sip of coffee and then we're going to get there. Okay, you guys, let's look at the first matchup. The Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, this game will kick off at 7 o'clock Eastern. All odds are over on FanDuel. So the Pittsburgh Penguins are the home dog. Plus 134 here. We know there are issues this season. It has been defense and goaltending. Sidney Crosby and Malkin have really been playing hard, but the rest of this team is really letting them down, especially on the forward side. Well, defensively as well. Like I said, goaltending and defensively. The Tampa Bay Lightning are coming in at minus 162. We got a total of 5.5, minus 115 to the under in this one. Looking here, Andre Vasilevsky expected to get the start here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, when we look at his record on the season, he's got a 9.20 goals against or save percentage, a 2.15 goals against average. When we look at him versus the Pittsburgh Penguins, he does have strong numbers, 10-7-1 in 18 games with a goals against average of 3.18 and a 903 save percentage. Nedeljkovic expected here for the Pens. Now, when we look here at the Pittsburgh Penguins, they've scored 3 or more goals in 7 of their last 9 games. Their defense and goaltending, though, have been the problem. That's been their weakness. Their kill is strong, though, at 81.7%. So they're strong on the kill. Not an elite power play here for the Tampa Bay Lightning, only converting at 19.6%. And a weaker kill at 79.2%. Now, the Tampa Bay Lightning are rolling in. They've won their last 2. They were able to get a shutout win versus the New Jersey Devils. It was crazy. Saturday, they won that 4-0. And we have the Pittsburgh Penguins off a shootout win. Yeah, they just were able to get a shootout win versus the San Jose Sharks. This is the Sharks team that we know is sitting in the bottom of the league. But the Pens returning here, I do think they have the opportunity of getting the win. This team's sitting 7th in the Metro, and they really need to step up. They have won 6 of the last 7 meetings with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Braden Point is listed day-to-day here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think that will give the forwards enough advantage to be able to get those shots on Andre Vasilevsky in this one. And I think they have every possibility of pulling off the win. So give me the Pittsburgh Penguins. I will take them on that money line. Again, the odds right now on FanDuel, they're plus 134. I got it earlier in the day. It was plus 122. So you guys are getting the better of the number. Their team total, you probably got a drop in their team total as well. It was too high earlier. 2.5 goals was at -166 to the over. If you can get over 2.5 goals within range that you feel comfortable laying that juice, I would look at it. Like I said, they've scored 3 or more goals in 7 of their last 9 games. They're averaging 2.7 goals per game on the season, but they've really been stepping up. Defensively, we've seen that step up in the last month as well. Those numbers aren't as bad as we saw to start the season. So these teams trend to the higher scoring games versus each other. The over is 6-3-1 in the last 10 meetings between these two. I do think we probably start off with the bang in this game. The first period, over 1.5, it's juicy at -140. Both teams to score coming in at +158. Nedeljkovic has a 3.17 goals against average and an 886 save percentage. So for the Pens to win this, it has to be a high-scoring game in my mind. The Sharks are playing so freaking hard out there. I love what they were doing on the ice, and I'm glad they were able to cash for us yesterday. But yeah, the Sharks did play the Pittsburgh Penguins hard in that matchup. Kev, happy Tuesday. Let's get this freaking money today. You guys, again, I'll do the recap at the end of the show. Oh my God, my voice is so going today. Like I told you, too much screaming at the TV last night. But make sure you hit that like, hit that retweet button. I so appreciate it, you guys. Just give me 1 second. I do not want to cough into my mic. Hang on. Okay, let's see if we can talk now. We're going to now look at the Edmonton Oilers coming off the shutout loss versus the Montreal Canadiens. They're on the second night of a back-to-back. They're rolling into Ottawa to take on the Senators. Now, this Senators team has impressed me. Allmark expected in net tonight. We will see a Senators team that is so hungry for the win, but Edmonton off that loss will be hungry too. I expect both of these teams to be able to light the lamp tonight. More so, the Ottawa Senators. They are the home favorite, though, -114. -105 for the Edmonton Oilers if you think they get that bounce back. I'm not buying into it, you guys. Total of 6.5. Now, the 6.5 is juiced to that under. And I understand why. Edmonton did get shut out last night. We are seeing Darnell Nurse still day-to-day after getting that huge hit 2 games ago. So we won't see Darnell Nurse out there. That's a huge hole for their defense. And I think the Ottawa Senators will come out and score in this one on Stuart Skinner. Skinner versus the Sens, 4 games played. He's 3-1. With a 3.52 goals against average and an 888 save percentage. I can't trust Skinner here. I do think you look at Brady Tkachuk to really come out nice and strong. Tim Struzal as well. Huge playmakers out here for the Ottawa Senators, and I think they can get things done tonight. Now, both teams will be hungry, and I do lean to the over 6.5, but I think if you look at the Senators, to get the win in this one, it's the way I want to go. It's a more comfortable way I feel about this game because if Allmark stands on his head, we will see a lack of goals out of Edmonton. The Senators in the first period on the money line, I think, is a strong way to go as well. It's coming in at -104. I think they're going to hit Stuart Skinner straight away. At home this season, the Sens are 5-2-1. And yes, the Edmonton Oilers have been a solid road team, going 5-3-1 on the road. But I tell you, the Sens are playing the better hockey right now. Now, Connor McDavid coming into this was rolling so hot. So if you want a player prop for the Edmonton Oilers, you know Connor McDavid loves to bounce back in these situations. He has 11 points in the last 5 games. His point tonight, you're not going to have to lay a lot of juice because of the fact that they got shut out last night, but it's the Senators for me. Give me Josh Norris here for the anytime goal. His anytime goal coming in at +240. I think Josh Norris has every ability to hit the back of the net, and I could see the first period being over 1.5 goals because I think the Senators get both of them. So give me the Senators on the money line in the first period. The Ottawa Senators for the full game on the money line, and the first period over at 1.5. I really don't want to take the over in this game. I could see it going to overtime though, and that will push us over the total. If you want to look at the overtime bet, it's either 2-2 or 3-3 going into OT. The overtime bet coming in at +350, I think, is worth a sprinkle. Let's move on to the next game here, the Florida Panthers and the Winnipeg Jets. Talk about game of the night. This is going to be game of the night here, you guys. The Florida Panthers just did beat the Winnipeg Jets. This is a home and home back-to-back series for these two. They've had some rest in between. The Florida Panthers coming in at -102 and the Winnipeg Jets at -118, looking to answer back. Connor Hellebuck absolutely has to answer back in this one. We did see the Florida Panthers score a shorty in that last game. We had Barkov score that shorty. So when the Winnipeg Jets were on a power play, Barkov scored for the Florida Panthers. It's always a bad feeling for a hockey player out there and a bettor that is on the other side of that bet. Total sitting at 5.5, minus 106 to the under. I got to go under in this game. This game is going to come down to goaltending. Bobrovsky is expected here for the Florida Panthers. His save percentage is below 900 right now. I look for that to improve on the season. It's at 897. He's got a 2.89 goals against average. They have killed 83% of their opponent's power plays. They have 5 shorties on the season, you guys. So they've scored 5 times on that kill where they are down a man. Last season, they only had 8 shorties total. So this team is rolling hot. You don't want to give this team a one-man disadvantage because they are getting things done. But you look here at the Winnipeg Jets. This power play is phenomenal. Best power play in the whole league, averaging a conversion rate of 36.5%. The problem is right now their top 6 are kind of in a little bit of a, what would you call it, like slump. They're not playing up to the level. Kyle Connor, we haven't seen show up in the last couple of games. Can Kyle Connor get back on the board tonight? I would look at Kyle Connor for his points. I do think you look, though, at Florida to continue to roll hot. The problem here is the Winnipeg Jets at home get that last change. They will get the matchup they want against Sam Reinhart and Barkov. Sam Reinhart and Barkov are complete fire right now for the Florida Panthers. You look at Sam Reinhart coming in 10-game point streak. You guys, 8 goals and 8 assists in the last 10 games. Looking at Sam Reinhart's points tonight, I would expect him to at least get an assist out there. We look at Barkov. He's riding an 8-game point streak as well. He's recorded an assist in all of those 8 games at least. So in some of those, he's got the goal. So he did get the goal on the kill in that last game. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if we see the lockdown here on Sam Reinhart and Barkov, which leads who to score? Matthew Tkachuk. But I think both Tkachuk brothers are scoring. If you want to parlay Brady Tkachuk for a goal, Matthew Tkachuk, Brady Tkachuk again for the Ottawa Senators, Matthew Tkachuk here for the Florida Panthers, I think it would give you excellent plus money. I do think this one can go to overtime. This is all going to be dependent on the goaltenders, plus 340. Let's just see. We're going to look at goaltending props. I want to see if they are out yet. We're going to take whatever they give us for those goaltenders to the over. I think the shots are coming. I do think the defense tries to lock down in this one, but you've got so much talent here. We have seen the Florida Panthers allowing an average of 28.3 shots on goal per game, 29.5 shots on goal allowed by the Winnipeg Jets. I think this will come down to we go to overtime. Those shots on goal props, so be careful if you're betting them, and the goalie save props. So the goalie save props normally include overtime. The shots on goal props normally are in 60 minutes. So be very cautious of that. I would take the goalie props to the over because I'm expecting both of these goaltenders to stand on their heads. Connor Hellebuyck, like I said, needs to bounce back. His goals against average pre the last game versus Florida was under 2. It's now over 2. So he's going to look to right the ship here tonight. I love the under 5.5. Looking at points tonight, like I told you, I do think Kyle Connor gets a point. Barkov, Sam Reinhart, and Matthew Tkachuk are your playmakers for a point. If you parlay those players together for a point, Kyle Connor is the only one for the Winnipeg Jets. I do lean to the Winnipeg Jets to get the win because of the fact that we will see them having last change. This Winnipeg Jets team is so strong. Kyle Connor, I really do think has to answer back. His point tonight's coming in at minus 200. So it's highly juiced. But if we put Kyle Connor, Barkov, Sam Reinhart, and Matthew Tkachuk all in for points coming in at plus 330, in a lower scoring game, it's going to be so hard for those points to come in that way, because I really do think Kyle Connor will have to step up for the Winnipeg Jets. I love his point tonight. I don't love the value. If we parlay Kyle Connor just with Matthew Tkachuk, because I do think that lockdown comes on Sam Reinhart and Barkov, that's coming in at plus 153. So we're taking a minus 130 for Matthew Tkachuk, parlaying it with Kyle Connor for a point at minus 200, and it comes in at plus 153. I know it's a lot of juice separately, but I do think if you put those together, If you just want to look at Kyle Connor and Matthew Tkachuk for the goals, that's how I think they're going to get those points tonight. So the points, actually, what else you could do is you could just do Barkov and Sam Reinhart to continue their point streak. If you put Barkov and Sam Reinhart together, it's minus 106. But if we go back to those goals and we look at Matthew Tkachuk and Kyle Connor plus 150 for the anytime goal. Matthew Tkachuk is down. He's plus 270. So parlaying the two of those guys plus 804, I would take them separately and then put a tiny quarter unit on the parlay at plus 804. It's worth a shot. But Kyle Connor plus 150, Matthew Tkachuk at plus 270. 270, you guys. Oh, we got a lot to do. Yeah, I'm leaning the Jets. I really do think the Jets should. The Florida Panthers, so they're a hard team to step in front of. They're rolling so hot with the way they're able to score on that PK. It's just absolutely phenomenal. I know we should see them bounce back off of that loss. Okay, you guys, let's move on to the next game. That was a heck of a lot of talk for the Florida Panthers and the Winnipeg Jets, but you know these two teams deserve it. Let's look at the Minnesota Wild taking on the St. Louis Blues. The St. Louis Blues here, Jordan Binnington expected to get to the start, and they are a plus 140 home dog. You guys know I absolutely love a home dog. The St. Louis Blues returning from a road trip, but an unsuccessful road trip here. They will now take on the Minnesota Wild, and the Wild rolling in at minus 170. I can't take the Wild at minus 170. The puck line for the Wild at minus 1.5 at plus 152. This Wild team, though, loves to get up and then lock down. The total sitting at 5.5. The 5.5 juice to the over at minus 120. I think this one stays under. The under bet coming in at minus 102. You're getting more value. I got it at minus 108 earlier in the morning. For the last 5 meetings have stayed under that total, but I do think it comes down to Jordan Binnington in goal. If Jordan Binnington can show up as I expect, the St. Louis Blues win, and they win in a low-scoring battle out there. Jordan Binnington versus the Minnesota Wild is 10-5-1 in 17 games with a 2.72 goals against average and a 907 save percentage. We need Binnington to stand on his head, and then the St. Louis Blues have every opportunity to get things done. So I'll take the plus money here. We did see the Wild just win this matchup back in the middle of October. They won it 4-1. Except when we look at the last 3 meetings before, the St. Louis Blues were able to get the win. I don't normally love a team coming home from a road trip, but it was an unsuccessful road trip there for the St. Louis Blues. And this is the first game on the road here for the Minnesota Wild. When we look at their look-ahead situation, this is a battle of the Central, though, so they shouldn't be looking past the St. Louis Blues, but it's got to be weighing heavy on their heads. They will be in Edmonton on Thursday to take on the Edmonton Oilers. And then they'll face the Calgary Flames, who are exceeding expectations this season on Saturday. The Oilers will be their look-ahead situation. Yes, they shouldn't look past an opponent in the Central, but this is the team that they just beat, a month ago. So they beat this team a month ago, 4-1. They got the Oilers on deck. I do think the St. Louis Blues are worth a look here at home. Again, 6 in the Central, sitting 8-10-1 on the season. Second in the Central here for the Minnesota Wild, 11-3-3. I just love how the St. Louis Blues did win the last 3 meetings prior to the one this year. Oilers, Senators over. Yeah, if the Oilers can score on Allmark, I can see it going over that total. Okay. The Anaheim Ducks, they were quacking last night, and they got us that great plus money. I hope you guys played Montreal, the Ducks, and what was our other one? The St. Louis Blues, all plus 1.5 on that puck line. I know we were talking about kind of like parlaying a couple of things, and those dogs were barking with all of them being able to get the win. So the Anaheim Ducks roll into Chicago to face a Chicago team that has been struggling on their home ice to light that lamp. They're coming off a road trip. Connor Bedard did not show up in Vancouver like we expected. It was like the whole arena there was there to see Connor Bedard in his homecoming. Again, he grew up in North Vancouver, but not able to get things done. They're now coming in, the Chicago Blackhawks, at a minus 172 favorite. A team that has scored They haven't gone over one game or one goal in 5-6 games, you guys, in regulation. This team is struggling. I can't take them. The Ducks are quacking again for me, plus 142 for the Anaheim Ducks. We got a total of 6.5 minus 122 to the under 6.5. I would go under the 6.5 at -122. Anaheim's playing better of late. Gibson did well in his return as well from what we've seen out of him. And then his numbers versus the Chicago Blackhawks, 15 games, 6-8, so not great. 3.35 goals against average, not great. An NL3 save percentage, I'm pretty impressed with, though. Peter Mrazek on the season has a 906 save percentage. He's been standing on his head for the Chicago team, making some of these games look better than they have been. But I just don't trust the Chicago Blackhawks to score in this game. They're 2-4 at home this year. They've only scored one goal, or they scored one goal or less in their last 5 in regulation. That was the stat I was looking for in my mind for you guys. So I just don't believe in them to come out nice and strong. They have Florida at home on Thursday, the Flyers on the road on Saturday. Again, they're off that loss to the Vancouver Canucks. They've lost their last 2. And yes, it's the second night of a back-to-back, but you don't have to sell me on this Ducks teams right now. They have a very weak face-off, though, 42.6%. Of the faceoffs only they are winning. They just need to come. They need to come firing at Peter Mrazek. So their main issue has been their kill this season. Their kill is only 66.7%. If they can shore up this issue, they are going to find success out there on the ice. So look for them to do better on the kill tonight. The power play is not elite here for the Chicago Blackhawks, but with that being the weakness of the Anaheim Ducks, if you want to look at the power play points here for Connor Bedard, I would look at Connor Bedard, Donano as well, as well for the Chicago Blackhawks. That's where I would go with those power play points, but I like the Ducks, you guys. I'm going to take the plus money. Troy Terry, 6 goals and 6 assists. McTavish has 6 assists on the season. So give me the under, give me the Ducks. They did just win this on November 3rd, 4-2 as well. Yeah, possible overtime. This actually could be a 2-2 game going into OT. I do like Bedard. I like Bedard for sure. I think Connor Bedard can come out. He can get that anytime goal tonight, get Chicago on the board. I think that power play point for Connor Bedard as well. Let's look at the power play points, you guys, and see what we're getting. Because Connor Bedard for the 1+ points, you can't even bet it. It's coming in at -210. His power play point, though, +210. I think that is worth a look. Troy Terry coming in at +300 for the power play point. And Vatrano coming in at +350. I also like the look of Leo Carlsson here, +380 for the power play point. Tyler Bertuzzi at +400 for the Chicago Blackhawks. You could see the Chicago Blackhawks scoring on that power play with Connor Bedard and Tyler Bertuzzi. So +400 for Bertuzzi, +210 for Connor Bedard. I like both of those looks if you want to bet for Chicago. If I was looking at points, if I was looking at the Ducks, it would be points for me. You can get Leo Carlsson at -106. Troy Terry's too juiced at -154. So I wouldn't look at him, but you've got to look at the power play points tonight for Chicago and then looking at those goals or points for the Ducks tonight over the power play points. Tara Vinen also is an interesting look for the Chicago Blackhawks. Tara Vinen at +240 for the anytime goal, but for me, it's Ducks. I think they can get it done. So I just can't lay juice on the Chicago Blackhawks -172 at home. There's no value, and this team hasn't proven they can get anything done. 2-4 on the season. Why would I lay juice, especially with this Ducks team rolling in nice and hot? Maybe the Ducks first period if you don't want to lay the full game on the Anaheim Ducks. Let's move on to the next game, you guys. We've got the Calgary Flames taking on the New York Islanders. Now, Patrick Roy is a terrifying coach if you're looking at a total, because while the Isles love to lock down defensively, Patrick Roy is freaking nuts. You guys, he'll pull goaltending no matter what, whenever he wants, and he can do either way out that total because of it. When we look at the Islanders rolling in here to Calgary, this is a pick of -110 both ways. Total of 5.5, -104 to the under. I like Calgary to get the straight up win. They've got so much playmakers and so much depth right now. And Dustin Wolf is expected, and that's the difference maker for me. Dustin Wolf is coming off that shutout win. He has been playing so strong between the pipes. We look at him, he's 6-2-1 on the season with a 2.53 goals against average and a 921 save percentage. If Dustin Wolf, for some reason, doesn't go in and it's Dan Vladar, it's the Isles. But with Dustin Wolf in here, I do think the Calgary Flames are able to get the win. Varlamov is expected here for the New York Islanders. He's got a strong goals against average of 2.68, but a save percentage of 892. We look at the top line here for the Calgary Flames. That's Jonathan Huberdeau, Connor Zary, and Sharakovich. They have been playing strong. Huberdeau is leading this team in points this season. Connor Zary has 3 goals and 5 assists. Sharakovich just with those 2 goals. Matt Corradano, I do like out there as well. I think you can find him getting on the scoreboard tonight. So if you want to look at his points, but Rasmus Anderson has been so strong as well, getting those points on the board. So looking at his points tonight, he has 4 goals and 7 assists. So total of 11 points on the season. When we look here at the New York Islanders, I do think this team will struggle to get those goals. They have a weak kill as well. Their kill only 69.2%. They're playing disciplined hockey, though. This is a team that isn't taking a lot of penalties, only averaging 5.6 minutes per game in the box, compared to Calgary, who is just shy of 10 minutes in the box per game. So if the Isles come out and play disciplined hockey and Calgary finds himself in that box, Dustin Wolf is going to need to stand on his head. I would look at goalie props for Dustin Wolf for his over save shots on goal. The Isles roll in averaging 30.2 shots on goal per game, and the Calgary Flames are allowing 30.6. So Dustin Wolf save shots on goal to the over, definitely a way I'd look. As long as that number is coming in, 28.5, 29.5, even. If you're getting a 30.5, it's getting right on that edge. But the Isles coming off that loss to the Kraken on Saturday should be fired up to get going in this one. Now, Matthew Barzal is on IR, so Palmieri really has stepped up with Barzal on the IR. You could look at him. He has assists in 6 of his last 7 games, which is when Barzal has been out of this lineup. So Cal Palmieri really is stepping up. That's what I'm liking in this one, you guys. You can't forget about Backlund here for the Calgary Flames. 4 goals, 5 assists on the season. I think you can play around with those points tonight. I think Calgary will hit Varlamov here. But again, I'm not touching that total just because Patrick Roy, he'll pull Varlamov. He'll pull him in the first period the first period if he decides to. You're rolling with the Flames as well. You're leaning to the under. It should be an under game. This should be a 3-1 game because of an empty netter. That's where I see this game. It should be. Yeah, he's going to pull that goalie. He's going to pull him, and he's going to pull him hard and fast, and that blows totals. So maybe the first period, if you want to look at the lockdown in the first period. But again, we have seen Patrick Waugh, I'm pretty sure, first period goalie pull, or has been second period. I don't know. He's crazy out there. The last game on deck shouldn't disappoint either. We look at the Florida Panthers and the Winnipeg Jets, and I think that game is going to be electric, but I do think the New York Rangers and the Vancouver Canucks will be electric out there on the ice as well. This is a straight pick 'em. We've seen movement in this line, -110 either way. Total of 6.5, -122 to the under, +100 to the over. Now it's hard to get to the under for me in this one. Igor Shesterkin and Langigan will absolutely have to stand on their heads. Will we see the defenses lock down and keep us under? I'd love to see a defensive battle. If you guys know me, I love defensive hockey. I love those hard-hitting games where we see the defense really stepping up, making those shots from the blue line, but the defense playing the biggest roles. And yes, we all love those flashy goals that come out of the forwards like Connor McDavid, Ovechkin. Talk about Ovechkin, you guys. We'll keep you posted on what's happening with Ovi with that knee injury. He's 30 goals away from hitting Wayne Gretzky's goal record, and he did get hit hard last night. Knee-to-knee collision, nothing on purpose. So 2 goals last night. He had a hat trick the night before, 2 goals the night before that, the game before that. So he's been absolutely electric on the ice. Hopefully he is okay to play in the Washington Capitals next game. But looking here at the New York Rangers versus the Vancouver Canucks, we saw Rick Tocchet really rip the head off of all the players, and he talked about in the media it was his fault how this team wasn't getting the wins at home, and then they went out and beat the Chicago Blackhawks in the style that they did. We then saw them lose to the Predators at home on Sunday 5-3. It was their second night of a back-to-back, and this team gave it all they had, but the Predators rolled in so strong. The Preds needed that win so bad. They've got a road trip on deck. They face the Ottawa Senators on Saturday, the Bruins on Tuesday, Wednesday. They will face the Sabres, and then and the Pens on Wednesday and the Sabres on Friday. So they do have a road trip loading. It's not for a couple of days. They're sitting third in the Pacific here for the Vancouver Canucks, 9-5-3 on the season. The New York Rangers, fourth in the Metro, 11-4-1. This team is playing elite hockey. Like I said, that kill is so strong, 88.2%, second best overall in the league. They're not terrible on the kill in Vancouver either. It's an 80.4% kill over there. There is a stronger power play for the Rangers at 25.6%. The Rangers will be at the Flames on Thursday, at the Oilers on Saturday. They're coming off 2 wins. They've won their last 2, coming off a 2-0 win over the Kraken on the road on Sunday and a 3-2 win over the Sharks on Thursday. So this team has been playing strong out there. The 3-2 win over the Sharks, they could have done better in that game, but like we talk about, the Sharks are really playing great hockey. I like the thing about the Rangers is the depth. Their bottom 6 is playing just as strong as their top 6, in my opinion, and they've been phenomenally hot away from Madison Square Garden. On the road this season, 6-1 on the road. So this is a hard matchup for Vancouver. Adam Fox is a strong bet tonight to look at him for getting those shots from the blue line. Can he connect and get the anytime goal? He has every ability to get the goal tonight on Lankican. Lankican has a 901 save percentage. I do think it is worth a shot on Adam Fox. We're getting Adam Fox for the anytime goal. I just can't remember the number. Let me look it up here, you guys. Because he's a defenseman, we will get so much more value on Adam Fox. He's plus 700. For the anytime goal. Now, you could also look at JT Miller for the Vancouver Canucks. JT Miller coming in at plus 240. So JT Miller plus 240, Adam Fox at plus 700. So that's one from either team. Looking at the points tonight, we have the points. JT Miller is minus 166, so you can't go there. Minus 122, though, for Adam Fox for that point tonight. I do like it. Savannah Chad, you could look at him. I think that step up is really coming out of him. Minus 138 for the point. As for a side, I'm going to take the Rangers. I think the Rangers can roll into Vancouver and get it done. Brock Lesnar is injured upper body, so without him on the ice, I think the Rangers really do have the upper hand. The road team has won the last 3 games in this series, you guys, and they've also gone 4-1 over the past 5 in this series. The Rangers on the road, I can't bet against them, especially with how their bottom 6 and top 6 are playing. I do think this one goes to overtime, though. I think this is the explosive game that we want. Overtime coming in at plus 340. I'm looking here at the Rangers team total. I don't want to take this game over the total, but I do think it gets there. But it could be 3-3. Yeah, and then that gets us over the 6.5. The Rangers team total over 3.5 is plus 140. If you want to take a total, because I just trust the Rangers and Igor more than I trust Vancouver and Lankican, especially without Brock Lesnar in the lineup for the Vancouver Canucks. So I would take the Rangers team total over 3.5 before I took the game over. I would take the overtime as well in this battle out there on the ice. So you guys, all the best in all of your bets. We will quickly do the recap here, and then we will get to this. Yeah, and then I'll get you to your day. That's what I was going to say. The Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Again, I think this is a goaltending advantage here for the Tampa Bay Lightning, but the Pittsburgh Penguins have been able to hit Vasilevsky in the past. So I'm going to take a shot on the home team here in the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're getting plus money. You guys know I love a home dog. The Pittsburgh Penguins at plus 122. I think their team total over 2.5 is worth a look here, but it's too highly juiced at minus 166. The first period over 1.5, too juiced at minus 140, but both teams to score in the first period at plus 158. Remember, Braden Point is day-to-day here for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I do think the Pittsburgh Penguins can score on Vasilevsky, especially without Braden Point out there. They've won 6 of the last 7 meetings versus the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the over is a trend between these two teams. The Edmonton Oilers off the shutout loss versus the Montreal Canadiens taking on the Ottawa Senators. Give me the Sens here in a pick 'em price. Now, they were a plus 120. underdog before, and now they're coming in as a favorite. Sorry, it's now -114 for the Ottawa Senators. We're losing value. Look at the Ottawa Senators in the first period at -104. So strong at home, and while Edmonton's been good on the road, they got shut out last night, and I don't think they bounce back like people expect. The first period over 1.5, definitely worth a look, but I think the Ottawa Senators get both of those goals on Stuart Skinner. That's coming in at -128. I do think this one is worth a look at overtime as well at +350, expecting Allmark to stand on his head and really shut down the Edmonton Oilers. If you want to look, though, at who will get those points, we know Connor McDavid, after being shut out last night, is going to be frustrated. So his point tonight will be in play. Josh Norris, I'll look for the anytime goal for the Ottawa Senators. And you got to look at Brady Tkachuk. And talking about the Tkachuk brothers, we're going to look at the Florida Panthers taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Matthew Tkachuk, I wouldn't be shocked if he got the goal. I will take him for the anytime goal tonight, as the Winnipeg Jets will have last change and will look to lock down a Sam Reinhart and Barkov in this matchup, as these two players have been so hot out there for the Florida Panthers. Barkov was able to score on the shorty in the last matchup between these two. I do lean towards the Winnipeg Jets in this one, but I think this game comes down to one where you just look at the goaltending, take both of these goaltenders for their safe shots on goal to the over 29.5. I'm totally comfortable with both of them to go over those numbers, while defense can lock down on both sides, and I expect those defenses to lock down. I also think offensive talent is so high in this one. Kyle Connor, I expect him to get out of his little slump. Like I said, the Winnipeg Jets are slumping right now on their top 6. Kyle Connor for the anytime goal tonight, I think, is a strong bet. I also would look at those points tonight for Kyle Connor and Matthew Tkachuk, and then look at Kyle Connor and Matthew Tkachuk for the anytime goals. Again, if you parlay those, it was like +800. Sprinkle on that, but look at Kyle Connor for the anytime goal, Matthew Tkachuk for the anytime goal separately as well. Overtime game for me in this one, +340. When we look at the Minnesota Wild and the St. Louis Blues, another home dog in the St. Louis Blues. So far, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Ottawa Senators, and the St. Louis Blues, all home dogs, and I'm riding with all three. God, I must be fucking crazy today. The Minnesota Wild, though, I just don't trust this team to score on Jordan Binnington. He's proven that he can shut this team down, and we're getting so much value on the St. Louis Blues at home. Give me the under 5.5 at -108. The Anaheim Ducks, I think they are quacking again, taking on a Chicago Blackhawks team that does not deserve to be a -170 favorite when this team cannot light the lamp. Give me the Ducks with the plus money. They already beat them early November 4-2. I think this game stays under the 6.5. I think that's the best bet of this game. The Islanders versus the Calgary Flames. Again, I can't touch this total with what Patrick Waugh is willing to do out there on the ice, but I do think Dustin Wolf has been playing way too hot for me not to look at the Calgary Flames here. On the money line, the Calgary Flames coming in at -110. This is a straight pick 'em right now. I would look at Kyle Palmieri to continue to roll hot here for the Isles. He's getting more playtime with Barzal out of the lineup. I'm looking at the top line for Calgary, Huberdeau, Zari, Sharakovich, to be able to get their points on the board. Rasmus Anderson as well. And I think you look at Matt Cordano here for over on his points and backs. I think the points I would look at for these line mates, but I wouldn't look at the goals. And last but not least, the New York Rangers versus Vancouver Canucks. Give me another overtime game here to finish up our night. I do think the Rangers will be able to roll into Vancouver and get it done, because I like what we're seeing out of Igor Shesterkin and the kill here for the Rangers. I also think the Rangers will be able to score on Lankakin, and we got Brock Besner out of the lineup for the Vancouver Canucks. So that is a huge hole in their lines. Adam Fox, I think we can look at him for the anytime goal. Again, that was like +700. Offensive defenseman out there. Adam Fox holds so much value to get the goal. JT Miller tonight for the goal was like right around +240. I would look at JT Miller for 2+ points as well in this. I think JT Miller is a huge playmaker out there for the Vancouver Canucks, and his 2+ points coming in at +300. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. Thank you so much again for joining me here on Puck It with Jo on SportsGrid TV on X. I appreciate you guys. Round robin. Let's not forget the round robin today, you guys. Looking at the round robin, I would take the Ducks and the Chicago Blackhawks under 6.5. I would also look here at the Winnipeg Jets. Oh, no, let's stay off of that. The Minnesota Wild and the St. Louis Blues under the 5.5. I know it's not a lot of goals, but we're going to ride with unders. And then I would look at the Pittsburgh Penguins team total over 2.5. I expect at least 3 goals out of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So the round robin, the Pittsburgh Penguins over 2.5 goals, the Minnesota Wild and the St. Louis Blues under 5.5 for the game, and the Anaheim Ducks and the Chicago Blackhawks under 6.5 for the game. If you want to go for a long shot parlay, you guys, I am looking at the Ducks to win straight up. Give me the plus money. Let's build it. Let's build it really quick, you guys. I want this plus money. I'm going to put this in. I really do think the dogs are barking. The Ottawa Senators are not a dog. They have moved to the favorite, but I think you take the Ottawa Senators, the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm going to stay out the Florida Panthers and the Winnipeg Jets, St. Louis Blues, the Anaheim Ducks, and the Calgary Flames. Those are the 4 that I feel the most confident about to get those straight up wins. Let me just remove a couple of things here to get the same game parlay in. Okay, so that's the Ottawa Senators money line, the Pittsburgh Penguins on the money line, the St. Louis Blues on the money line, the Anaheim Ducks on the money line, and the Calgary Flames on the money line. That same game parlay is plus 47.70. If you take out the money lines and put all of those teams on the puck line, you're not going to get as much value. But, the Ottawa Senators, they want us to lay 1.5. It won't be as easy to build. But if you take the Pittsburgh Penguins plus 1.5, you take the St. Louis Blues plus 1.5, the Anaheim Ducks plus 1.5, and the Calgary Flames plus 1.5, that comes in at 4-1 to your money. You guys, all the best in all your bets. Thank you so much for joining me here. Out of all the matchups tonight, who are your top 5 to 10 players to record a point tonight? Ooh, that's a big question. Top 5 to 10 players. Matthew Tkachuk, Brady Tkachuk. I'm definitely going to look at them. I love Josh Norris as well for the Ottawa Senators. You've got to look here at Troy Terry for the Anaheim Ducks. He has been a straight fire. The New York Rangers, we know we love the Breadmen to come out and get those points on the board. So Panarin, Adam Fox, so I think is worth a look, in JT Miller. So that is where I'm going with those top guys to get those points on the board. I do think, though, it's the Tkachuk brothers are my favorite in tonight's game. So you guys, all the best. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, if you hit that like button, hit that retweet button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Bye, guys.